Hello, this is a quick tutorial just to show you how to integrate your game modes with the global game mode logic that we're going to be using. So the first up, what you need to do is you have to make sure you have a game mode manager prefab in your scene. This prefab is located in the integration prefabs game mode folder. That one there. Just have to drag it in. I will eventually add it to the game controller create on awake prefabs, but I have not done that yet, so you have to remember to pull that in. Otherwise nothing will work. So next up we want to obviously make our game mode, so let's just create a test game mode just to demonstrate. Let's open that up. Okay, so here we go, we have our test mode. First thing we want to do, add it to a namespace. I'm just going to put it in the Kojima one for now. You can add it to any game space you want, however the integrated game mode logic is all stored in the Kojima namespace, so you'll have to reference it through that. The next step you want to do is make this inherit from game mode, so let's just replace that. There we go, game mode. So what this will do is it will give you access to all of the base logic that I've set up. Not all of it has to be used. There are certain bits such as the height and width of the play area, well, the game area that you have to set up, and what type of game mode, what game mode it is. The stuff down here is stuff I will integrate and create demos for later, but that is not necessary right now for just basic setup, so I'll leave that. You can look in example mode for examples of how to use that if you want to have a look into it yourself, but I will create a demo for that later. For now, just going to open up example minimal mode, which just has the basic, very core logic that you're going to have in every single game mode you set up. So what we want to do is just copy that. I'll take that across there, put that in there. So there we go. Right. So this is the base logic you want in every single game mode class. So obviously it's got the inherited start and update functions as you would for any other inherited class. Also in the update function we have a game loop. Every single game mode has to have a game loop so that something is activated when the game mode is triggered. So you can use the M-activated boolean just to do that. So just copy in that if statement. The logic in here is what you will have to change. This is where your game mode logic is going to sit. For now I've just got something that prints to the console every update just to say that it's active, and also when you hit the return key it will end the game. This is the only other thing you have to have in your game mode is a call to this end game function that will just turn off the game mode once you're finished and set the global game mode state back to free roam. Okay, so that's all the logic you have to set up inside the actual game mode class itself. The only other things that you have to set up is come to the Kojima mode manager script and add your game mode to this enum here. So let's just call this test, comma. Okay, that'll do. And also add a new case to this just so a event is pinged out to the game just to say that it's happening. So what we want to do is add a new event to the event manager stuff. So let's come in here. Oh, there's already a test game mode there. So you just add a another event to this enum. So I've just called it game mode test there. So let's just add another one for now. Game mode on example. Go. Let's just add that. And then I would obviously just change this here. GM, let's go example. There we go. So that's all you have to do in the way of coding. So okay, so the next step is to set up something to trigger it in the game world. Obviously for now we have these trigger boxes with text just to say what it is. Later on I think the lobby group will be adding a proper prefab and to make it actually look good. So at the moment it is just this trigger box with that text and a collider. So all that you require for this is to have a trigger box and your game mode script. So let's remove these ones. Let's remove that. And this trigger script. This trigger script will activate the game mode when a car is inside the trigger box and the action button is pressed, which I think is circle on the PS4 controller and space, I think, on the keyboard. I am not quite sure. You would have to check the rewired stuff for that or the wiki. So let's just add our test mode in here. So test mode, there we go. So now we need to set this up. So First up, mode width, you can just set it to whatever you want. So let's just set it to 300, 300. That'll set up the gaming rectangle. Then you change this to your game mode, as so. Game mode timer is used for the phasing system that is not quite ready yet, so you don't have to worry about that, and phases are obviously the same thing. Spawns, what you want to do is, as you can see, I've got a couple of spawn points set up so that it will define where cars will spawn when the event starts. That will all be done through the system, through the game mode stuff, base logic. You don't have to worry about that. So you just want to drag these spawns across to this. This may change eventually, but for now this is just the way we're doing it. So we'll just close that up. There we go. So now what will happen is that when I drive over that and press the action button, it will trigger this, and I should start the event. So let's do this. I just had to change something to make it work properly. I will push that fix up when I've finished this, but what you do is you drive into this, hit space, and as you can see, the example has activated, and it is constantly printing that out. So if I was to hit return, and come back in, okay. Hello. There we go. Now that I've hit return a couple of times, for some reason it has stopped. So yeah, there we go. That is all we have to do. And that's about all there is to it. So if you need to contact me for any questions about it, I am Harry Davis. That's my Slack handle. You can get me through that, direct message me via that, and you'll be able to ask me any questions if you have problems. Cheers.